She was just an ordinary girl, until the day she opened her eyes and found herself floating in the air. But what waited for her in the sky was not freedom, it was something she was never meant to see. The rain had stopped, but the air still trembled with the sound of thunder, rolling far behind the hills. Lina stood in the middle of the field, her white dress clinging to her skin, her bare feet sinking into the wet grass. She could feel the heartbeat of the earth beneath her toes. Every breath came slow and shaky, as if the air itself was resisting her. A strange silence spread through the valley, too heavy to be natural. No crickets, no birds. Only the faint hum of something unseen. She looked at her hands. Tiny drops of water hung from her fingers. But when she lifted them toward the fading sky, the droplets began to rise. Slowly, softly, floating upward like tiny stars. Her heart skipped a beat. She whispered to herself, "What is happening to me?" The wind swirled around her. Gently at first, then stronger, curling through her hair like invisible hands. Her feet lifted. An inch. Then another. The world below her tilted. The trees swayed like shadows painted on glass. For the first time, Lina was weightless. The ground no longer belonged to her. But then, a sharp sound cut through the air. A cracking noise, like dry wood snapping in a fire. Her body froze midair. Her breath caught in her throat. She looked down. The field was gone. Only mist remained, thick and silver, swirling like smoke around invisible shapes. A whisper came from within the fog. Not a voice she knew. Not even human. It said her name, slowly, as if tasting it for the first time. Lina. Her heart pounded. The voice came again, closer. Lina, you are not supposed to be here. Her fingers trembled. Her body began to descend. But the mist below her moved, rising like a living thing. It reached for her ankles. Soft and cold, pulling her down, not gently, but with a quiet hunger. She tried to scream, but no sound came out. The air thickened. Every breath felt like swallowing water. And then she saw it. A shadow in the fog. Tall, thin, its arms too long, its head bent at an unnatural angle. It waited for her, and it smiled. The shadow did not move. It only stood there, shrouded in the mist, its grin stretching wider, longer than any human face could allow. Lina's chest tightened. She wanted to close her eyes. But something inside her refused. Her fear had its own eyes now. Open, unblinking. The mist curled around her neck like fingers. It whispered without sound, its chill crawling down her spine. The figure took a step forward. The ground did not react. No sound, no ripple. It was as if the world had forgotten gravity. Her body trembled, weightless yet trapped, caught between sky and earth, between waking and something else. Who are you? Her voice was small, barely a breath. The shadow tilted its head. Then, in a voice like broken glass being dragged across stone, it answered, "You should not have looked up." Lina's heart slammed against her ribs. She stumbled backward, but there was no ground. Only air, and then falling. Her stomach lurched. The mist swallowed her whole. She fell through layers of cold. Through whispers. Through voices that were not her own. "Give it back," they murmured. "Give it back." She tried to scream, but her voice dissolved into the fog. And then, suddenly, she hit something solid. Her knees buckled. Her palms scraped against rough earth. The mist cleared slightly. She was in a forest now. Dark and quiet, with trees so tall their tops vanished into shadows. The air smelled of moss and something sweet. Something that did not belong here. She turned slowly, searching for the shadow. Nothing. Only silence. Her breath came in sharp bursts. Her hands were shaking. Her fingers felt numb. The forest floor was damp, covered in black leaves that glistened as if wet with ink. She rose to her feet. Her bare soles pressed into the cold soil. The sensation felt almost alive, as if the ground pulsed faintly beneath her. She took one cautious step forward. The trees creaked, leaning slightly toward her. "Hello." Her voice echoed strangely, as though the sound was being bent around invisible corners. A flutter of movement caught her eye. Something small darted between the roots of an old tree. She crouched down, peering into the darkness. A bird, or what looked like one, emerged slowly. Its feathers were pale as bone. Its eyes were black and wet, reflecting her face like two mirrors. It tilted its head, and then it spoke. "Lina." Her body went cold. The voice was not a sound. It was inside her head. She staggered backward, her foot snapping a twig beneath her. The bird did not move closer. It only blinked. And when it blinked, its eyelids closed the wrong way. Sideways, like a lizard's. "What do you want from me?" she whispered. The bird's beak twitched. It opened its wings, revealing patterns that shimmered like human veins beneath skin. "You have what was taken," it said. "Now the sky will come for you." Lena's throat went dry. Her eyes darted upward, through the narrow opening in the canopy. The clouds above were circling. Slow, deliberate, like something alive was turning beneath them. The wind began to stir again. The trees swayed. The leaves hissed softly against one another. She tried to move, but the air pressed against her body. Thick and heavy, as if unseen hands were holding her in place. The bird hopped forward. Do you hear it? She listened. And then she did. A low hum, deep and ancient, vibrating through the forest floor. Through her bones. It was not thunder. It was a heartbeat. Huge, steady, distant. Her skin prickled. Her stomach twisted. The sound grew louder. The earth trembled. The bird's feathers quivered in rhythm. It wakes, the creature said softly. It remembers the one who flew. Lina shook her head. I do not understand. The bird's eyes darkened. You will. A sudden gust of wind slammed through the forest. Branches cracked. Leaves tore loose and spiraled into the air. The ground beneath her split open. Not wide, just enough to show a faint glow seeping through the cracks. Golden light, warm and alive. She stumbled backward again, but the glow followed, spreading like veins of fire beneath the soil. Then came the sound, a sharp, piercing tone, like metal screaming against stone. Lina clapped her hands over her ears. The light intensified. The air burned hot. The bird took flight, vanishing into the dark. She fell to her knees, blinded by the brilliance. Her skin tingled, every nerve alive with fear and heat. And then, from the crack in the earth, something began to rise. Not fire, not smoke, something else. It looked like liquid light. Shifting, forming, becoming. Lina backed away, but her feet sank again. The soil swallowing her slowly. Inch by inch, she reached for a tree trunk. Gripping it hard, her fingers dug into the bark. Splintering it, the light took shape. It formed a face. Familiar, almost human. Her own, her reflection, but older, eyes brighter, expression colder. The glowing version of herself. The light swallowed everything. The forest, the mist, the shadow, gone. Only silence remained, thick and trembling, like the world was holding its breath. Lina opened her eyes slowly. The air was golden, soft, still. She was standing on a field of clouds. They moved beneath her feet like gentle waves. Above her, a thousand stars hung low, close enough to touch. For the first time, she felt no fear, no pain, only calm. She turned, and there, in the distance, she saw herself again, the glowing version of her. The one from the forest. Stood quietly, smiling. It spoke softly, its voice echoing like wind through hollow stone. You were never meant to walk, it said. You were meant to remember. Remember what? She asked. Her voice felt small in the endless air. The reflection extended its hand. When you first looked at the sky. It looked back. Lina hesitated. The stars flickered gently, as if waiting for her answer. She reached out, fingers trembling, heart steady. Their hands touched. A rush of warmth flooded through her body. The clouds beneath her shimmered. The stars moved closer, swirling around her like fireflies. She could feel everything. The weight of the earth below. The whisper of the wind. The quiet pulse of every living thing. She was part of it all now. Not a girl, not a shadow. Something in between. She looked down. Far below, the valley slept under pale moonlight. Her village, her home, still there, small, silent, safe. And she smiled, because she finally understood. The sky had not cursed her. It had chosen her, to remember the balance between earth and air, between fear and flight, between life and what comes after. Her feet lifted once more. The stars brightened, turning the clouds into rivers of light. She spread her arms wide. The air embraced her. She rose higher, and higher still, until the world below was only a memory. And her name became part of the wind. Some say, on quiet nights after the rain, a girl's laughter can be heard, drifting across the clouds. They say she still flies, watching over the fields where she once stood, guarding the sky she once feared. And if you ever look up long enough, you might see her too. A shimmer, a shape, a girl of light, the girl who could fly.